Hi friends. So for today's math lesson, we are going to be measuring objects using this little piece of paper. The reason why you don't see me doing it on the webcam is because this lesson I think was a little bit too hard for me to show you because it deals with a lot of measuring. So today's lesson and tomorrow's lesson, I'm going to be using different objects to measure. Today a cube and tomorrow a paper clip. So today we're going to be using this cube. Now, what you're going to see me do is I'm going to take this little cube, I'm going to lay it along the edge of an object, and I'm going to make sure I put my finger there before I move it. I'm going to measure how many objects I think it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and not quite all of 7. A little bit of 7 hangs off, but it's the most, we have most of the 7 tile. So you'll see this little worksheet that I made where it has all the objects that we're going to be measuring, and it says about how many squares is each object. So our notebook was about 7. So I just put 7 here, but we know that it's about. We can't say it's exactly 7 because we don't measure things using a square normally. We use things like rulers, we measure in inches and feet and yards. So, but for today, we're just going to be using this cube just to practice measuring. So our next object on the list is a stapler. So I have my stapler. I'm going to start with my cube at the beginning of my stapler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's more 6 than it is 7. You'll notice that more of the cube is hanging off the end. So we're going to say this one, the stapler, is about 6. All right, our next object is a hole punch. So this is a hole punch. This is where I put it inside a paper. I'll show you how it works. Put it inside the paper, and it makes those 3 holes in. So that's what a hole punch is. So I have my hole punch here, and I'm going to measure it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and about half of 10. So we could say either 9 or 10, but I'm going to go with 9. So I'm going to say this hole punch was about that's a P, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to write upside down. About 9 cubes long. My next, and I usually know, those of you who work with me at Daily 5, which is all of you, you know I'm a pretty good pro at drawing upside down, so that was just a little mistake there. Next, I have a paintbrush. I have my paintbrush here. I'm going to start measuring this way because I think it might be easier to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and again, I think that's more 7 than it is 6. So over here for paintbrush, about 7 cubes. Next we have our pencil, and let's look at these two side by side. They look like they're pretty similar in shape, right? Let's see which one's longer, the paintbrush or the pencil. We know the paintbrush is about 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the pencil is about 5. So we see, is that backwards? No. Oh, so we see that the 5 and the pencil is about 5 cubes, and the paintbrush is about 7 cubes. So we see that the paintbrush is a little bit bigger. Okay, we have 2 more objects. Now, make another prediction. Is the marker going to be more closer to the pencil or more closer to the paintbrush? I don't know. I think maybe it's going to be more closer to the pencil. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. That was about exactly 4. So that one's the shortest object that we have measured so far. 4. And the very last thing we have is just a regular envelope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you take a look at our list here, you will see that none of these objects were the same amount of squares. They were all pretty different. So here's my challenge to you. Maybe cut up some squares, have mom or dad help you cut out a square of paper, and go and try to find things around your house that you can measure. Practice measuring, practice using this to measure. We use things like this first so we can learn how to measure objects and talk about what those measurements mean before we move on to a ruler. So don't use a ruler right away. Use something that's not real, such as a paper clip or a square. All right, can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Bye.